Well, hello, everyone. Good to see everyone today. Looks like we got, 20 at the moment, which isn't terrible.
That's awesome.
So we're doing okay for the middle of the day. Well, hey, Ryan,
whole day.
we got DC, Ryan, Mike, Tom, Stuffy. We got Philip at 33 Mile B, Peabody's, Tritone. Got Brad, the B-Man of Faith Apiaries. We got this guy out in California named Todd.
Todd?
Who's he? Hanley's
Todd.
And we got Grayson. And I'm trying to see. I think that's all the way back to the beginning. So, guys, we appreciate all you and Randy Klingen signing in. So, let's do business first. So, this is a woodshop video, obviously. And you see, I'm the cheap Chinese knockoff Bob, not Bob Benny today. So
not here, not cheap Chinese Bob. Knockoff.
So,
you're just chummed knockoff Bob.
And hey, we got a little swarm lure challenge going on. So, couple requirements is that you take a photo of said caught swarm with your bottle of Swarm Rustler, or a video. Videos work good because I share those to a YouTube playlist, and we can track them. But here's the deal. The winner, if you haven't seen the post in the No Life Beekeepers chat, I ordered a championship ring. A championship ring. It's a decorative championship rings, guys. So it's not like it's like a one size deal, right? But with that being said, once we know who the winner is going to be, it will get a nice decorative display case that's personalized to you. And there you go.
Wow.
Win. So
that's awesome, Bob.
I think it's something unique, right?
What a fun thing to do. That's really great.
So I'm hoping I'm hoping that stimulates a little bit of sales, obviously. I mean, but it also is an appreciation for people that are buying my my Swarm Lure in stores. Yeah. So just
that's really good. That's really great of you to do that.
So yeah, that's just something we're 8 trap outs all with your lure. We need photos and video evidence, guys, because I actually have several stores that are also that sell my lure that are also hopefully going to participate. So it's going to be a big thing, hopefully.
So you want the lure bottle in the picture sort of thing? Is that what you're looking for?
Video or a photo of, I don't care if it's somehow sitting next to your swarm on there, kind of with the name would be nice. It's a little promotional thing, right? So just, and to be honest with you guys, it's not extravagant. It's not about the cost. I think it's about $150 for the display case and the ring. The ring is already ordered. It's already been ordered. So it's already on its way. It's just who's going to get it, who's going to take it home. So
right on. That's great.
And some people really like that, hey, I got to have it. I got to win, right? That's sure.
There's nothing wrong with a little friendly competition.
And if you're in No Life Beekeepers, I'm going to have to put the stats of who is what and who's up ahead. So we're going to kind of track it as the season goes on. Now, keep in mind, it's going to be later in the year before we can release any winners or anything like that, just because everybody's season starts at different times, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're in Canada and you're a swarm trapper, your season's going to be much different than mine.
You're going to be giving that away in September if you're going to wait for the Canadians.
Yeah, it'll be at the end. But, we'll have the winners list there.
Yeah.
So just got to take some photos, and you guys know how to get it to me. In the No Life Beekeepers chat is a great place. Or just email it to me. And if you know a local store that might want to carry it in your area, have them email it to me. So email me an inquiry and we'll. So
is it one entry per swarm sort of thing, or?
Yep. So whoever just most swarm catches with the lure. But you got to have the video evidence, right? It's kind of like this is a date stamp, right? Type of deal.
Yep.
And just to let you know, Dirt Rooster's already sending me messages. Is it a size 14? So, just answering him real quick. But yeah, so it's just, something fun to try to, little competition, little friendly competition. Smack talk is always appreciated.
Well, I ain't winning. I got the lure, man, but we don't have many swarms here. If there's swarms, they're my swarms.
Hey, that's fair game. I didn't put any.
So I drive my colonies to swarm so I can win the ring.
Yeah, Jeremy, I know it's a little bit late for some people. I get it, but some people it still hasn't got it yet. So you might still be able to catch a bunch with the lure.
So if I've got video that I took last week of a swarm that I got, and somehow I got your little bottle in the picture, that's valid.
Submit it.
Yeah, nice.
I mean, I can't penalize those people because I put it out a little bit late, right?
Right.
So,
and it's all fun. I mean,
yeah, it's fun. Somebody will win. And to be honest with you guys, obviously it's not the most notable swarm lure on the market, so not that many people are using it, which means it's not that many people are using it. It really increases your odds.
A pretty good chance.
Yeah, there's a good chance, right?
But you got to work it because it's not random. It's the most swarms.
Yep, the most swarms. So, someone needs to tell Old Man Winter his job is done for the year. 4 inches of snow.
Yeah.
Someone needs to tell Greg Burns because he was telling everybody 2 weeks ago, it's spring is sprung. Start feeding. Start doing all that stuff.
Is he his weatherman?
No photo editing.
He's just about right. He's just about as right as the weatherman.
Yeah, he was off on that one. But hey,
Boy, it's been cold here. It's been cold here. And it's going to be, I don't know. I'm thinking the last I saw in my forecast is looking like Good Friday, maybe. Or that weekend, Easter weekend, which I've done before. So for move out, I'll just fill that in because I didn't say so. Some people might be wondering, but yeah, move might be out of the building. It might be that weekend. I'm not sure.
Let's see, I've got just for full transparency. Yesterday, I posted up a Dubby energy drink. They're sponsoring me. Well, kinda, not really. It's like the Hive Alive deal, right? Coupon code, discount type of thing. So,
so not real lucrative.
Yeah, not lucrative at all. So
yeah, kind of benefits us more than you probably.
Yeah, I just get a whopping discount for my own, right? So
yeah, that's good.
Dirt Rooster said it could be a pinky ring at size 12.
I hear you, Dirt Rooster. I hear you.
Now, Cody Lee's talking about he's got Photoshop services.
Yeah,
to win.
None of that, Lee. Play fair.
We got to keep it fair. If Mr. Ed wins, you have to wrap tape around it so it doesn't fall off his thumb. So yeah. So you're in the wood shop today. You're doing.
I'm in the wood shop. Where else would I be?
It's. I guess you're doing migratory covers today.
I am. And you see a big stack of these right here, and there's two big stacks here in front of you. You can't see.
Does it feel like you're making a dent in them?
Yeah, it kind of does. It kind of does. Let me get my camera here, and I'll give you a little tour what I'm looking at. So what I've got here, can you see okay? So I've
Yes,
got
sir.
these are my cleats. So this is all of the cleats. So this is how many I have yet to build, and this is almost how many I've built, because this pallet was right full of end cleats and top cleats. So the pallet behind it, that pallet is half of the covers, half of the plywood parts, which is about 100. Of course, it's three piles, so there's not exactly 100. It wouldn't come out right. And then this pallet here on top of it was the other pile of plywood parts. And so I've cleaned that up now. And the only thing left from that pallet is up here. There's a few. Let's see this way. There's a few here. That's what I'm working on now. So I've got these that are finished, and there's 20 in this stack. There's 20 in that stack. So when I quit yesterday, I had 75 done, and I've got, I don't know, probably more than 80 done now. Try to get my camera set up again.
Will your camera turn long ways?
I probably would have to disconnect, but I could try. I can just tip it up, but I think it's going to make me sideways or upside down.
I think you might have to go into the camera setting and change it. I don't know if you do it.
Oops. Okay, just give me a second.
Yep. I can run my mouth while you're
Okay, you go. You take it down.
but so a lot of cool things happening. I actually ordered something else that it'll take a few weeks to come in, but I'm gonna rearrange all of this behind me. It's gonna change. So got some stuff coming in to make a little bit more pleasing.
I'm sure it'll fix it when I disconnect. So I'll come right back.
Okay. And now I'm big, but I've still been fighting this ear infection, sinus infection thing. So guess what? More antibiotics, more steroids. So just doing that sort of thing, hanging around, sending out emails. Brad is laying down on the job. Hopefully he can get it fixed. If he can't, just come back the way it was, Brad, and it'll be fine. And we'll make do. Just thought it might fill the screen up better when I go to show what you're trying to show. And man, it's 46 people in the middle of the day. You're like me, kind of chilling at home today and hanging out. But with that Dubby that I was talking about, the little energy packets you add to your bottles of water, it's also electrolytes and stuff. So if you're in the bee yard, you can take that one, replenish your electrolytes if you're sweating. And if you use the code Beekeeper10 at the checkout, you'll save 10%. So just something for you. I've been retired longer than most people in here. Oh yeah, you definitely have been. Hanley says I chill every day. Let me see. Maybe Brad's trying to get it figured out, guys. It shouldn't take him that long. All right. Let's see. All right. So my order has been received, and we'll see what it looks like when it's done. It'll be interesting. 10 bee videos this morning. Holy moly. I haven't watched that many. I've been busy today. Look, I even got a collared shirt on for you guys today. And waiting on Brad to come back here. let's see. Oh, you know what? If you're interested in that, let's see, Dubby, I will share a link. There you go. There's a link for it. Use Beekeeper 10 at checkout. They got all different flavors. You add it to your water. No sugar, no caffeine, just vitamins, B6, B12, all that stuff. Bunch of different flavors, shaker bottles, all that kind of lovely stuff if that's what you like. I'm trying to switch from these to the Dubby, and hopefully that will help. Only rich can afford collars. Yeah. You know what? This was a Christmas present from my daughter who works at a place where they supply shirts to embroidery companies and stuff. So I'm sure she used her employee discount and tried to save a bit of money there. See where Brad went. Hold on, maybe he sent me a message over here, maybe. I do still have a job. Yes, I've just been sick lately. They said about 2 weeks ago, they said I had a double ear infection, and they gave me some antibiotics and stuff, and I missed about almost a full week of work, and the antibiotics didn't knock out the issues I was having. Oh, here we go. He's coming back. It says device not connected. Let's see. I didn't mean to mess it all up. Things friends do to try to make me happy. Oh, there we go. All right. We got the loop. Perfect.
Sorry, buddy. It wouldn't release that orientation.
Oh, well, I didn't mean to mess you all up. So let me see. Yeah, perfect, man.
Are we on?
Yeah, we're on. Everything's good. You're good. All right, so obviously Brad's in the workshop, and maybe he can't hear me.
Let me try my settings.
It's okay if you go back the other way. Oh, you might have to change it back to default like you had it last time. But we hear you. Just trying to. We had this thing. Yeah, bees. Brad's bees are still in the shed. He's got to wait a few more weeks for his for the weather. The weather to get right for him. It's a little bit. I'm not going to say behind schedule, but I think it just changes for him every year. It's a little bit different.
So I guess you can hear me.
Oh yeah, we can hear you fine. So he's hearing a bit of crackling.
There's something goofy. The video.
Yeah, I messed it up, man. You can definitely flip it back if you want to. And he's going to try it back the other way, I think. I'm sorry, guys. It's my fault. See you later, Sarah. Good to see you. Yeah, we actually were getting it set up ahead of time, and I didn't think about the orientation until we were in there, and then I messed it up. Look at that. Oh, I'm definitely not rich. That's for sure. Rich in personality, I might. I don't know. That's debatable too sometimes. Let me see. Richard says a 17 to 58 in Germany. All right. He's coming back in, guys. Let's see. See what we got. Now I'm not seeing any photo. No, there we go. What about now?
I hear you now. Yeah, I hear you now. Do you hear me?
Yes, sir. I hear you.
Okay. Hopefully that works okay. That's the first time I've ever been accused of being in the wrong orientation.
There you go. Now everybody's saying, we hear you.
We hear you.
All right. So, Brad,
Hopefully it settles down. Sorry about that.
What are you going to show us in the wood shop today?
Well, what do you think I'm doing?
I know you're building migratory covers.
I'm building covers. What else?
I'm going to make you larger.
Sure.
There you go. Now
we can
see you.
I don't know if you should make me larger.
I don't know if it's possible to make you larger, but I'm going to make your image larger on the screen.
Yeah. Yeah, just be careful.
All right, explain to us what you got going on here.
I guess that's all right. Well, like I say, these put my glasses on it ever since I had my eye surgeries. Just the distance to about arm's length is a little bit it's not bad, but it could be clearer. So I put these glasses on, and that helps me get a much clearer view of what I'm working on here. They're not safety glasses, but this is pretty safe. There's not a lot of stuff flying around.
That might be better.
Are we still okay there?
Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, good. Okay, so these cover pieces, what I've done here is this is just I cut my plywood to length. This is a finished length on the plywood, and then what I did was I just cut the sheet in equal lengths, which is 18 inches, because there was no reason not to. Because if I cut it kind of more to width, I just get a offcut that wide, so there was no point. So just in simplicity, fewer cutting operations and less offcuts to deal with right away. So what these are is they should be 16 and 5/8 wide, and they're more like 18 inches wide. So I've got what I call a good side, which is the side that I cut on the table saw already. It's a nice cut. And then we've got the bad side. And I've actually been spraying some paint on that just so that I don't lose track of it. And partly also because I don't want to lose track of it, because I've already drilled my hole in the middle, but it's in the middle of the 16 and 5/8, not the 18. So
right, I was about to say, it looks like it's a little offset.
It is right now. So 16 and 5/8, should be 8 and 3/8 or so from here, which it is. That's dead center, right? So that hole is within 1/4 of an inch of dead center, and it doesn't need to be any more accurate than that. So I want to make sure I take my last cut off of this side. There is going to be some come off of this side too. I'd like to trim things right at the end. Whenever I make anything, I'd like to put it all together and trim it, because then all your joinery is lined up perfectly if it's cut at the end. I've always done that without trimming the one side, so I would try to flush up all of the material on the one side really, really well. Because then I wouldn't be trimming that. So I always had one side that was perfect and one side that was pretty good. This year I'm doing things differently. It's weird. I've been building these for years, and every year I change things a little bit just to make it either easier to build, quicker to build, or a nicer product. So starting off, I have my end cleats, and of course I've got my little rabbit in the side of that cleat, and I just run some glue on it.
And that's Type Bond 3?
Type Bond 3, it's a waterproof food grade glue. Now what I'm going to do here, you can't see it, but in years past, like I said, I would try to flush that up just perfectly, as much as perfect as I can, but it's never perfect. So what I'm doing here now, and I'll explain in a minute, is I'm leaving that just a little shy so that the plywood is proud of that end cleat. And I'll tell you why here in a second. So I've got a 2-inch 16 gauge nail. That's not by design, that's because of what I have. And
So
I just experienced something that I'll explain, a piece of safety here. That nail came through here. And the little wood chip hit me in the hand. It didn't injure me at all. But you don't want to have your hand anywhere within the length of the nail from that nailer, because it will go through your fingers and your hand. Ask me how I know that.
I've done the same thing.
Yeah. I nailed my thumb to a beehive frame one time. I was holding it and I put the staple through, and then I couldn't let go because the staple was right through my thumb. I'm going to try to cut this nail off. Being careful not to let it go in my eyes. And what I've got here, I just want to push that end of that nail below the surface, because I'm going to be putting a shim here. I've just got a square punch. It's not square, it's round, but I mean a square face punch. And I'll just whack that. Now it's below the surface, not going to bother me at all. So turn this around. And now my flush side is on that side. So rinse and repeat, right? This customer wants his covers to be an 1/8 inch longer than I make mine. I make mine exactly the length of the box. Sometimes they're a bit tight, but they're always nice and snug. So when I first started doing that for him, I would cut my plywood to different length. I would cut it 1/8 inch longer. And then last year, it kind of occurred to me that I could do that in a little more simple way. What I do now is all of my plywoods are all cut the same to length of the box plus, well, mine are cut length of the box plus 1/2 inch, so 1/4 on each side, meaning my rabbit is 1/4 inch deep. So this guy, I just make that rabbit a little bit shallower. So that pushes this cleat out by 1/8 by 1/16 on each side. 16th there, 16th there. So I don't have to cut different pieces of plywood and keep them separate. I see another nail there. Okay. So you see I get glue on my surface, work surface. I don't like to get my product all covered in glue. When this glue dries, it kind of looks like brown snot. And when the cover is wax dipped, it turns a color too, and it just doesn't look very nice in my opinion. So the top cleats, and the reason I wanted to move the difference in the parts to the end cleat is his end cleat is 1/4 inch longer than mine. Mine's 2 inches, his is 2 1/4, I think. Anyway, suffice it to say it's longer. So then I can make a special end cleat for him, and I don't have to make any other special parts. Just makes milling lumber a little easier. So I got my brush out since last time. Spread that glue all the way.
So when you so since you're not making it I guess absolutely perfect when you're putting these cleats on at the end lined up, then basically you would trim the one side just slightly, right? And then it would be measured to the appropriate distance. You probably have a jig of some sort, and then when you run that through, it'll be perfect on both sides.
Yeah, that's right. What I do is I'll cut it. I'll take most of the meat off of this side first. I want this side to be clean, and the reason I want the cleats to be slightly shallow or shy of this plywood is I want the plywood to run along the table saw fence so that I can reference from there to how wide this is. And so then I can cut finished size to 16 5/8. I can add an eighth to that, which is a saw kerf, basically. And that's 16 6/8, right? Well, 3/4, 16 3/4. So I'll cut this at 16 3/4, run them all through, and then I move the fence an eighth, turn them around and run this side against the saw fence and cut this at 16 5/8, perfect. And now I've trimmed both sides. There was a little bit of a complicating factor there, and I'll show you when I turn it over.
So is there a reason why you didn't just cut that initial piece to length and then try it? Yeah, why you didn't just do it to width originally as one piece instead of
because I do want to trim it both sides, so I need extra width, and cutting them all in 18 inches just makes 3 pieces out of a 4-foot wide sheet. So it's just less, one less cut at the beginning there. Is that kind of what you're asking?
Yeah. So, and I was just, as compared to just cutting them to width straight away from the beginning.
Yeah. I always like to trim things. I always like to oversize, and then when it has to be sized correctly, then that's when I want to do it. I don't like trying to assemble things that are cut the perfect size to begin with, because you can't cut them to the perfect size.
Right.
And you can't then line up the pieces.
Just seems like it ends up being a much nicer product when you trim it all together at one time like that.
That it is. That's exactly why I do it. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to pick this up and I'll have to clean my work surface a little bit because I don't want this glue on top of my workpiece. So just a quick little scrub. All right. So the next stage, because I can't, this top cleat here, you kind of see this one, a little bit of a gap here. Yep. I need to clamp that. I need to push that down. I could use my woodworking clamps for that, but then I'd only build about 3 covers a day. So this is my clamp, 1 1/4 inch screw. So just run that through there, grabs that cleat, pulls it tight to the plywood.
Right? Yeah. Do you find it pulls it the whole width, or sometimes it doesn't get the whole thing quite all the way?
The whole 2-inch width for sure. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it does a good job. You'll see the glue squeeze out here in a second. So I'll put either 4 or 5. That's another thing that I do every year is I might put 4 one year, I might put 5 the next. Depends how it screws and glue, I'll tell you.
You save a lot of money with it?
I do, but I spend a lot of money on glue and screws.
Yeah, I mean, you spend a bunch, but your capacity to build is more, right? Because you said you only could um,
Oh
do
yeah.
3 at a time, right?
Oh yeah. That's not practical. If I was doing 5 covers, I'd probably clamp them. I'm doing 200. Well, and I already did like 58. So in
Right.
all, 258 covers. So now, so you can see now. Can you see that squeeze out here?
Yes.
No, both sides. This side is even worse, right? So you can see the effect that screw has. It pulls that down real nice. If the piece is not all warped and stuff, there's always that. So I want to wipe that squeeze out away. This glue is nice. It's a waterproof glue, but before it sets, it's water soluble. I got some on my shirt the other day. I didn't really want it to dry there, so I went in and rinsed my shirt out, and it was fine. Okay. Now, this is going to kind of be the explanation. My glue pot is running low, so I'm going to fill that up. And this is how I buy this stuff.
In the gallon.
This cost me about $80 a gallon. And I think I've just bought my 5th gallon for the season. I buy it in boxes of 2 at a time.
It's 80 Canadian though. So like
yeah,
$50, maybe 50, $60.
$20-$25 US or so. Yeah. You had to bring that up.
Are those glue pots worth getting? I haven't ever used one. DC says
Glue bot.
the glue pot. Yeah.
Yeah, the glue bot. It's called. I think it's Fast Cap is the company. It's all right. They're not super cheap, so and most glue, if you're buying glue in a smaller container, they have a squeeze top container usually, so it's usually good enough. This is nice because it actually squeezes from the bottom up here, so you're not constantly shaking your container. So I'm just putting some glue along where those shims are going to go.
So this is a little bit different here because like none of my migratory covers have feeder shims on them.
Shims, yeah.
They look very if I think when I get these lids that I've ordered, I'm probably going to add some shims to them. And just so it makes it easier to throw appy tablets or pollen patties or whatever you want right under there, right?
So I'm keeping this side clean because again, that's the side that's going to run on my table saw. That side, I don't care if there's glue on that side. So here, this is what I was going to show you about what I kind of figured out this year. This is a 3/4 wide piece that's going to be what I call the short shim. And this is the side shim, and it's a 7/8 wide piece. Those are different?
Yep.
And the reason those are different is I bought that lumber specifically for this project so that then I can trim off an 1/8 and I've still got 3/4. Does that make sense?
3/4 to put on your 7/8 box.
That's right. And these little end shims, these short shims as I call them, these don't have to be anything in particular. I'd like them to be a 3/4 wide, but sometimes I'll have scrap 7/8 material and I'll make 7/8 and they're wide. I had one that was about 1 inch and something, maybe 1.125 wide, and I just stapled it on. It doesn't matter. They just take up space.
You find those shims, I mean, obviously you get yours wax dipped and everything, but right. Do you find those shims help with the keeping it from warping, bowing the migratory covers?
Well, they will.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it's a lot.
Particularly in this direction. Well, you know what? It's 65% more strength, probably more than that, than just the plywood alone in that area, because it's half an inch thick. And the plywood is 3/4. It again, yeah, it's not as much as say these big end cleats, but it definitely helps for sure. And that's a narrow crown staple, and it's an inch long.
Okay.
Again, these are just for clamps, right? It's the glue that holds this together. These are just clamps until the glue dries, which is kind of, too bad, because there's a lot of money in staples and nails. So I just check it, make sure there's no glue along that edge, no squeeze out there, no squeeze out there, and Bob's your uncle. So you could see here, right, how this plywood is longer, and that'll all get trimmed off, because these cleats are even too long. These are 16 and 7/8, right? So they're 2/8 too long, which is perfect, because that's how much I want to take off of this.
2/8, isn't that like 1/4?
Exactly. Yeah.
You know how we always joke about math, so
Yeah. No, it's 1/4, but I said it like that because I want to take that off, an eighth here and an eighth there. So that makes up those 2/8 that I can take off, and I'm still got a 16 and 5/8 cover. And then, I do my roundovers. I've got a little one here. This is a little 6-frame cover that I have. It's already dipped. And I run roundovers on all the surfaces here, the side and in here, on there as well. So the reasoning for that, it makes it look really nice, and it's very nice to handle. But the reasoning why I started doing that is the first year I built my covers and pallets, and I didn't do that. And I realized when I was stacking, of course, if you recall, my pallet runner interlocks with this cleat, that the pallet runner would so easily catch on just the smallest edge of that cleat. So I thought, you know what, I'll just round that over, make that slide in a little better. This one is
from chipping and stuff like that too.
It does, yeah. It keeps the slivers and stuff down. This one is not rounded, but it should be. And this is the same thing. I round that, and like I was saying, I make my covers to fit just right. And then if it's tight, the fact that end cleat is rounded over just helps it slide down onto the box nicer. So, yeah. So that was kind of dirty and dusty, but that's the finished product.
How old is that one you've got in your hand there, do you reckon?
I don't think this one's ever been used.
Okay. I was just saying because it's wax dipped, and I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe.
Yeah, I don't think this one's ever been used. I can't. I just look for a little bit of propolis on it to see if it's used, and it hasn't been used. They definitely get weathered, but they hold up nicely. It's kind of strange, because you know how lumber it turns yellow and it turns gray. Everything will turn gray, but the weather doesn't seem to bother it. It doesn't. The plywood doesn't swell up. It doesn't delaminate. It doesn't rot. So they don't always look like this, for sure. They'll look like that for a couple of years.
But that's seems like, so I really appreciate the fact that you slowed down your process to share that with us today. Because
no problem.
Obviously, when you're in production mode, you're not having to explain what you're doing on every step, because you've done it, so many times. So that's
I'm constantly thinking about it, though. I'm just constantly thinking about it. How can I make this faster, easier, nicer product? All that kind of stuff, and there's always little things that I come up with. I'm always trying to look at my parts, and this top cleat was the knot there. There's a little knot there, but I'll put that, put the glue on that side, make sure it's that way up. Just little things. And that's just mostly my personality. Is if the orientation doesn't matter, then you got to figure out a way to make it matter.
Right. Well, I mean, it's so obviously we have people in Canada. Are you still taking what orders for woodenware or
Yeah,
no?
typically I don't take a lot of orders after do this right here. I typically don't take a lot of orders after about New Year's because I need to set up what I'm doing here. It takes
Right.
all my time, and I can't run into beekeeping season too much. I will be. I always do, but I will be because if I work at this diligently, I'll be done my covers by the end of the month for sure. And then I have 118 pallets to build. So
Right.
that'll take me way into April to do that. And again, my bees are out in April. They maybe don't need me too much, but I have to make sure they're fed and whatnot, fed, treated, and assessed, and all that kind of stuff. So April is always really busy that way. And then, when I get it done, I need to schedule a trip to the Dipper. So that's a day in there. They're really good to me. I so much appreciate that family. I take my big load of woodenware there and I drop off most of it for the customer and he picks it up there. So that's really awesome. I'll have a couple of skid loads that I want dipped while I wait, and they'll just tie into it and dip it up while I wait. So I can take, it's 200 kilometers away.
Right.
So it's really nice. I don't have to go back for it.
And then your customers pick it up right there.
Well, this one does because he's closer to there than he is to here. And he goes there anyway for product and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, it's really nice. And if it's a different customer, and usually a customer won't place an order for 200 covers and 100 pallets. So if a customer places an order for 10 or 20 pallets, I can get it dipped while I wait. So then I just bring it back here. I have a customer in Winnipeg actually that's getting some, and I'll, if timing lines up, I'll just drop it off there on the way back because I go right by Winnipeg on the way back, so I can deliver his order. And but yeah, thanks for asking. I'll be pretty busy again next year. The following year, I don't know. I usually kind of have an idea about a year ahead as to how things are going and what kind of orders I have for the next year. This other customer in Winnipeg, he was almost on his knees begging me to build me some of that equipment this year, and I just said no, that's not going to happen. It does not happen. Certainly not in the summer. I don't build equipment in the summer. That's a winter job.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing, right? So you're a one-man operation, right? So
yeah, I had one of my suppliers. I dropped in to get some glue and staples and chit-chatting with him, and he said, "So how many guys you got working for you?" I said, "Just this old man you're looking at."
3, me, myself, and I.
Thanks for the tip, buddy. I appreciate that. That's really awesome.
I appreciate the content you put out and the fact that you join me all the time on these streams. So I try to share my appreciation with you,
Well, I know you appreciate it, but thank you anyway. And I appreciate your content and participation as well. So, yeah, so that was kind of, I don't like saying no, but I have to tell people, look, if you want stuff, you get your orders in
ahead of time.
Yeah. Every year, I think, darn it all, I'm going to start early in November this year and get things, but there's always so much. After the bees are away, there's so much to take care of. But the last 2 years, I've been delayed by eye surgery. So I've had over a month off in the winter because of that. Previous year, I had COVID for a month, so I lost time there. So It always seems to be something, but maybe next year I'll be able to get a jump on it.
Well, I'm going to predict it before it happens because I've been fortunate enough to be in your wood shop and see what you've got going on there. And yeah, I know that you had a 5-year commitment from a customer, but it's my thought that now the older stuff is going to start cycling out. So there'll be a contract renewal, if you will, coming. That's my prediction.
And I've considered that there might be, but that's totally up to him, right? He's given me 5 years, and next year is year 5, and we'll go on year 6. We'll go from there.
Right.
I might finally get some of my stuff built.
Yeah.
Cobbler's kid has no shoes around here. They're like, well, I meant to build those, but I didn't again.
Yeah.
I don't have enough bee escapes. It's always, I don't have enough bee escapes.
That's it. It's always, for me, it's always trying to keep up with what I've got going all the time. And then it's stuff like, oh, did you check your bees today? Well, no, I didn't get out there.
Yeah.
Because of, everything else.
Yeah. The wood shop fills up with junk in the summer, and it's not a matter of just showing up here and working for an hour, because it takes you 2 days to find the table saw.
No, Tim, I'm not. I actually I'm in the process of purchasing 50 wax dip lids. So even though I went on a rant about spending equipment, it's equipment that I need as compared to equipment that I am using for expansion, right? So a lot of the lids that I bought from Man Lake and other places didn't last for anything. I mean, they just warped and bowed, and there just weren't good lids, right? I mean, they're just not. So, so yeah, I ordered some that should be here in the next week or so that are wax dipped, and I'm not going to just chuck out the ones that I've got, but they're definitely going to start getting cycled out, right? And the main reason is I've got a lot of equipment. I've got a table, so I've got a lot of stuff where I could do some of this stuff. But for me to go and buy the equipment I need to make a quality product like that, it would ramp the price of my lids up for the foreseeable future well above what I could buy them for, right? So
sometimes that's the case. Build, like, sometimes people ask me to build things. I had a guy a few years ago, he showed me a picture of a beautiful coffee table, and it was like a cabinet coffee table, not just a table. And he said, can you build this? And I said, yeah, I could build that. But I said, I just need you to know that getting me to build stuff is not a way to save money on building stuff, because it's going to cost me more to build that for you than you could buy that in the store. Easy. Is it going to be nicer? Yeah. Are you going to help me out by getting me to do it? Yeah, big time.
right.
But, that's just it. I can control the quality here. And I can change the design if I find that design is not working for me. Either it's not lasting or it's not doing what I want. I like being innovative in my designs, the interlocking lids thing, kind of thing, the pallets and the lids, that kind of stuff. And adding a bit of support space on the back of my pallet for this customer, tips back his boxes onto the pallet. So that really helps him out too, which I'm doing on my pallets too. I mean, I don't make them different than that now.
Right. In your instance, you were a woodworker prior to being a beekeeper.
That's right.
So you already had a lot of the equipment. Now, I'm not saying you haven't replaced some or maybe bought a new item in the meanwhile, but you already had all that stuff. I've got basically a portable table saw that's on a stand, right? And I've got sanders and nailers and all of that stuff. I don't even
I have bought a few specialty pieces, like I bought a nice drill bit for the feed hole in the cover and that kind of stuff. I've bought a few specialty things and replaced some stuff that just need to do, worn out. But honestly, I've sold a lot of my woodworking equipment because I don't need it to build beekeeping equipment. Right. I used to have a lot more stuff in here, machines and whatnot. So I thought I'm not using this stuff, so I just sold it and a couple $1,000 back in my pocket.
And then bought the next machine.
Yeah. I mean, buy machines. You can't even see it, but buy machines like that 20-inch drill press that I have.
Right.
That's far more appropriate. I could drill these with my old drill press, these small ones, but I couldn't drill
the larger
feed
one
holes in the big ones because it didn't have enough. It was a 14-inch and it wouldn't reach the center of the cover. So I have a 20-inch now, and that's more. I was looking for a 17, but this 20 came up and it was affordable, so I bought it. But it's nice within reason. You can't just say, oh, it's a write-off. Remember, I think they had a Seinfeld episode like that. It's a write-off. I just write it off, right?
The other thing,
however, you still got to pay for it.
Yeah, right? And the other thing I find with myself is I don't buy the cheapest equipment. If I'm buying most of the time, if I'm buying a piece of machinery, I'm not going to buy the cheapest one because I do want it to last more than this job that I'm working on right now.
Yeah.
Right? So
yeah, there's a mix. I have a mix here. This drill press I bought, it's kind of the best of the worst. Was not expensive. If I get 5 years out of it, it doesn't owe me anything. But right. I think it was $400. The nice drill press is $3,000. So there's no question.
Yeah.
The cheap one's going to do the job, and it's probably going to do the job the rest of my life. I don't need something that's super accurate for doing this job, and I know this machine is not. But right. I don't need that, so it's more than good enough for my job.
Just putting a feed hole in.
Yeah, and it doesn't. And I mean,
bees don't care.
I do, and it bothers me, but I got to tell myself it doesn't matter. This drill press, the table isn't quite square with the right, but it doesn't matter. It's maybe a 16th off when I drill that hole. That doesn't matter.
As long as the cap fits in there.
That can actually work for you to keep that cap in there. But it does bother me. I have to tell myself, don't let it bother me because it doesn't matter. I don't need a $3,000 drill press to fix that problem.
Right.
But yeah, I try to not keep out on stuff. I am not the guy who will feel obligated to buy the cheapest, product that when I say I need this item, then buying the cheapest one is not what I'm into. It's like buying the best value. Right. And there's value in good equipment too. Here's a little example of that. Let's see if I can get this oriented up here. See this thing here.
Yes.
This is a very simple machine. They're pretty expensive for what they are, and you can build these, but this is a filter box, and really all it has is in the other end of this, there's filters, and they're bag filters that are very small microns, so they do a very good job of filtering. And then the air, this backwards, the air comes out this hole, and it really blows air big time. So it's just an air filter. I can turn that on, a little bit noisy. I can turn it on, and it just circulates the air in the shop and cleans it up. That's what I added to the shop. I think it was last year I invested in that. So just stuff like that, like just adding to the shop. I'm trying to get, you see, I have dust collection hose on the ceiling. I've never used it. I put it up there years ago and never actually used it. I'm gonna haul this around. I'll just take you mobile.
Okay.
So it's kind of congested in here. And I don't know, maybe about 3 years ago, I invested in this radial arm saw. Boy, I love this old machine. This is a beautiful, beautiful saw. the 12-inch radial arm saw, and I got it set up just to cross cut 90 degrees. I don't do anything else with it, and then I built a nice track fence system here for it with the adjustable stops, so I can easily go from one part to another. And I actually wrote my parts that I cut on the table with where they are and how big they are, so I can dial
So you
that.
know where to stop the wood right at it and
Yeah.
zip it.
Yeah, that's right. So that's the aforementioned good old best of the worst drill press, and it is. It's awesome. It works great. You know, got my jig set up here for my covers. I just slide my plywood in here, locates it square, and Bob's your uncle.
Looks like I need to come back and sweep your floor. I'm slacking on my duties over there.
Well, this is kind of by design, because this is smoker fuel. So I just dump it here and then it goes into a bag when I'm done. So these are the 6-frame covers. I think there's 58 of them here. I need 54, so that's nice. I got a couple extras.
I think that you know, as you walk around your shop, it brings me back to our conversation in our in your bee barn there, your shed, about how we were talking about how you multitask your spaces, right? So everything is kind of batched and sorted, and you'll wrap those pallets, then you'll take them back out, and you multitask a space as well as anybody I know, right?
This wrapping things in plastic like this, people, I'm sure some people will get down on me about it, wasting plastic, but that does so much for me to be able to put this together, wrap it. I can leave it outside even for short periods of time, and it doesn't hurt it. I can carry it around on my tractor. It doesn't all fall off the pallet. So this is exactly what's going to happen when I'm done. These is they'll get stacked on that pallet, wrapped up, and then they'll go out, or they'll sit here. I can stack them here too. But yeah, that's vital, because if you've got enough storage for everything, you don't move anything. Boy, you've got a lot of buildings, a lot of storage. That's expensive. But I've got my tractor over here, and I brought in my my packed honey. Can you see it there?
Yep.
The little white pails yesterday from the packer, and I labeled up my honey. So everything does, and it gets a lot more difficult in the winter, because this is about the only building I have. The only building I have that's room temperature warm. The bee barn is above freezing, which is good, but it's also half full of bees. So it's difficult in the winter.
Multitask those spaces well to where, last week you had just stacks of lumber there, right?
Yeah,
lumber, and now you've moved all that around, and now it's back. It's assembled product ready to go out.
I've got more parts for pallets sitting here waiting. Risers for pallets, and that's not nearly all of them. I've got 2 skids of those outside.
Yeah, that is a Kubota that he's got back there, David.
Yeah, the BX25. I can't easily turn my camera around, but if you're interested, this little guy is my right arm. It's got a nice 50-inch snowblower on the back. So, yeah. So I'm still working on this thing. This dust collector thing. I'm trying to get this cyclone put up. Well, I bought a bunch of parts, and they're expensive because they come across the line, and what I needed was a fitting to go on this the outlet here. So this is the part from the company who makes this,
and it don't work correctly,
and it doesn't go on there. It's the same size as that outlet. It's supposed to go inside it. I paid a lot of money for that.
David says this Kubota's old enough to drink now. BX 1500.
Oh yeah. Wow. Well, mine's 14 now. This is 2010 model. Yeah. So I phoned the company. I said, I bought this thing, and I told them that little story. And I said, I'll be honest. I said, I really regret buying this thing to begin with, but I'm kind of in now, so I have to make it work. And they were really good. That's Oneida Air Systems, and he was really good. And he said, okay. He asked me to get the dimensions of that outlet exactly, and he took that down, and he said, we're going to make one of those up today and ship it out to you for nothing. I said, okay.
So here's the question.
Yeah.
They should already know the dimensions of it because they built it.
I know.
So why do you have to measure it and send it back to them? They should be able to go to the shelf and measure it themselves.
He did say that they're made to order, but that shouldn't matter because you should know how big it is. But anyway, that's what he said. But this is working really good so far. Having this thing up here, and boy, did it ever move air really nice. So I can't wait to get it. The only thing is, I'm kind of done the bulk of my table saw work now.
Right.
So my dust collector won't really get used that much until next year. But well, we'll get her done anyway. My poor wood shop is just full of crap. So much in here. But it's actually kind of roomy right now. I'm gonna have to clean it up. I've got junk all over here. Because there's going to be pallets. Once the pallets start to be built, boy, that fills up in a big hurry because they're bulky. So I want to do the covers first because they're not as bulky.
Then you can move them out.
Yeah, move them out. And as I build pallets, then I actually put the covers on the pallets so that I'm not taking extra pallets when I take it to the dipper. I'll just put the covers on some of the pallets, move them that way. Yeah. So it's still cold here, man. It's still cold here.
It is. I don't know. What is the temperature here today? It's supposed to be rainy. It's saying 65 right now here. So we'll see with that. So yeah. We've been an hour and 9 minutes in the wood shop. Brad showed us the lids there.
This is my day. This is what I've got for today. So
it's got a bunch to assemble.
That many.
You gonna get them all done?
Well, I hope to. I hope to get these done today, right. And then that's actually a surprisingly long day to do this many. But when I'm done that, then I could start doing the final trim. And when I'm done that, I can do the roundovers. So there's a couple of days work after that yet. And when I'm done that, then I'll be half done the covers.
So have you ever calculated, and I know you have, but I've never asked the question. So have you ever calculated how much time you actually have invested in one lid?
No.
Oh, you haven't?
It's so hard. It's so hard to do because, I don't just cut up the lumber in one shot. I don't just cut up the lumber for one lid in one shot. I don't just assemble them in one shot. It's really hard to do. I guess I could get a stopwatch and say how many of these can I cut up. I just kind of use market forces. What do covers cost when it comes to pricing? What do covers cost and make it reasonable from there?
Yeah, so I guess the reason that I'm even asking that is because if you're truly figuring out what it costs to do something, you have to calculate time into it at some degree, right?
Well, you do. And I know exactly what it costs in material. I have that down to, within $1 of what it cost me in material. And I update that. It's the very first thing I do every year. is I'll update that spreadsheet with the current prices of material, glue. I know how many staples goes in a lid. I know how many screws. I know how many ounces of glue goes in a lid. So then I can say, I need this many ounces of glue. Well, it's actually milliliters, but you know,
Right.
So I know exactly how many gallons of glue I'm going to have to buy. See, it's gallons now, but um, so you get my idea. Look, I'm wearing a cowboy hat here.
You are. See,
I'm
maybe
wearing
if you got the hat on. Maybe you could win the ring, the championship ring. We can flip it around. I can flip you around.
So
there you go.
Oh, you're going to wear the hat now? I look good in that hat.
But so that's all things that I think that we look at differently if we're building it ourselves compared to building it for sale.
Yeah.
So we're doing something for ourselves. We say it's cheaper. However, usually when we build it for ourselves, we don't calculate the amount of time that we have invested in it, right? Or like when I bottle up Swarm Lure, I'm not calculating the time that it takes me to mix and bottle and label and pack and all that. That's not even in the equation.
Yeah. I'm most concerned with expenses because, of course, I don't want to get in a situation where plywood doubles in price and then I'm making nothing on a cover, or worse, losing money on a cover. But I've been trying to keep prices stable, and I've been not losing money, but I've been making less money since COVID because plywood went up I'm paying 50% more for plywood now than I was. So my plywood cost per cover and a pallet is 50% more than it was. I just eat that at this point, right? To try to keep my prices fair. So, there's always that. And do I obsess about, yeah, I'll cover that. It's a good question. Do I obsess over, I'm not making as much money on my time? No, because what else am I going to do? Sit in the house and drink gin? That's not good for me.
Well, you can sit in the shed and drink.
I can sit in the wood shop and drink gin. You want to drink gin, especially if you're working with power tools. things that are sharp, and things that go bang. You don't want
to viral video.
Yeah, it would be. It would be. It would look like a slaughterhouse in here or something. So there was a couple of questions there. What type of plywood? Absolutely, 100%, no questions asked. Make sure you use an exterior grade plywood. Do not use a plywood that's used for making furniture or cabinets or anything like that. It has to be an exterior plywood. People like to talk about MDO and HDO and stuff like that's fine, but make sure it's an exterior grade. So what that does is it refers to the bond, the glue that's used in the plywood. This plywood is gin and fingers. This plywood is glued with a waterproof glue. It's made for exterior use for cladding buildings and stuff like that. So that's what I'm looking for. And, of course, you see me using waterproof glue when I build the thing, put it together. So that's what you want to do. I'm thankful that I don't even know if I have an example here. When I buy plywood that is made for building cabinets, it's an odd size. It's like 11/16 thick. You buy a nominal 3/4 inch plywood and it's 11/16. Well, this exterior grade plywood that I use is 3/4 of an inch thick. So it just makes milling things a little bit nicer. You're not always allowing for that 16th lack. There's another question. Larimore asked their lid question. If I build lids out of 1x6 lumber, do I need to glue them together? I think you need to glue anything together. I think it's better. I tend to glue everything, which isn't necessarily, needed. However, make sure you watch your grain directions.
Yeah, that was that one. How about using boards instead of plywood?
No, you can do that. You can do that. No problem. Let me put you back.
I can tell you about my boards that I purchased.
Yeah. Well, that's a good example.
They definitely warp.
So
And bow.
your grain direction is crosswise, right?
Well, I bought these from a bee supply company, so you would think they would
Doesn't
know what
matter.
they're doing, but
Doesn't matter.
uh,
So
but
this cover, you can easily see this cover. The grain direction is this way. Okay. If you put your grain direction this way, and this goes for lumber too. If you have lumber, like this started life as a 1x8. So if you use lumber for this instead of plywood, and you put it this way, bad deal. You need to put it this way so that then your end cleats are going to stabilize it, because it might warp this way a little bit, but it's definitely going to warp this way, right? A wide board. And that's why the plywood you want here. You say, well, plywood is laminations and it's stable. Yes, it is. It's not stable, it's more stable. When the rain hits this top lamination is going to get wet first. When the bees are creating a ton of humidity, this bottom lamination is going to get wet first. Okay. So what happens when you get a top lamination that gets wet, the next lamination is not going to get as wet right away. So what's going to happen is that plywood then will warp, and it'll always warp across the grain, I should say it'll always warp across the grain. It'll expand the top lamination, and that'll have to get bigger. So the bottom ones won't let it get bigger, so therefore it's going to warp. I don't know if that made any sense.
This question came up when you were actually building and discussing the build, so I saved it to bring back.
A half pallet size nuke bank. Would your pallet plans work for that with a few modifications for the bottom board size? A half pallet size nuke bank. Okay, so
you have a 3x6 plan, right?
Yeah, I got it right here. I can show you.
So I didn't forget you, DC. I just had it started. So the let me see. Did you catch that I posted your comment up there, DC? No, he's going to get it to show you.
Okay, so some of these moving off here. All right. Now this is my 2-way. Now, I'll put you back a little way so you can see that. That work?
Yes. Yep. There you go.
Okay, so that's a 2-way pallet. I'm trying to envision what you're meaning, DC. Maybe you can comment again and clarify that. So what you said is you want a half-size pallet. So you're wanting to build a pallet that's not a 2-way, but a 1-way, and to make a nuke bank out of it. I don't understand that.
So maybe
so how big is the nuke? Is it a 5-frame nuke? So are you making 2 5-frame nukes out of a 10-frame box, kind of Michael Palmer style? Is that what you're saying?
He says the pallet the same size that you have there, 5 or 6.
Okay, so you want the same pallet divided into 4 pieces. Is that what you're saying? And if that's what you're saying, you absolutely can do that. Not an issue at all.
Just where you got your runners and your cleats.
Wherever you put the center shim and entrances and stuff. Here, I'll show you the 3-way. Get my exercise. So that's a 3-way pallet. So it has a 6-frame nuke here and a 6-frame here and a 6-frame here. And that pallet is, other than the shims here, It is exactly the same pallet. It's the same dimensions. It has exactly the same underpinnings.
Now, if you notice on his pallet there, it does not have the runner in the middle for the entrance because it has a separate piece of wood that allows him to move the middle entrance from the front to the back.
Right, right. The center one is open front and back, and I'll just put a wedge either this side or in this side, depending on where I want that entrance. I want the entrances in the front for wintering and other times, but sometimes if I'm going to be using this as a mating nuke, I want the wedge here with the entrance on that side, just for entrance diversity. So does that kind of refer to what you're asking, DC?
I think so. And Riley Jolmas gave you a $5 super sticker over there,
Riley,
Brad.
thank you very much. I just noticed that. I have to look. I've got a screen here I can look at, but I have to look that way. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that.
Paul,
It's fun having you guys in the wood shop here with me.
I'm going to slaughter your name, but Paul Bikes, maybe? Bikes, that's a great idea. A one-way pallet hobbyist would love that, but not very cost effective.
See, I have to, if anytime I'm thinking about that, and I love the ideas because it allows me to use my creativity to come up with equipment that people want to use. So my first question would be, what are you using to move that? See, my pallet is built so that I can use my little tractor that you saw, right? I can use my pallet jack in my honey house, and I can use my tractor to lift the pallets. So if you're talking about a quote one-way pallet, I think that's a good idea, but why? Like, why are you wanting a pallet design for that? Are you just wanting a nice, it would make a really nice bottom board for that.
Thank you, Philip. I appreciate you, sir.
Well, thanks, Will.
And you've got the, Brad, you've got all of your plans on SketchUp, right?
All of them are on, well, most of my plans are on the SketchUp warehouse. Yeah. I can put a link in the description when we're done this to the SketchUp warehouse. You could just, if you go to the SketchUp warehouse and search for That Bee Man of Faith Apiaries, you should be able to find my little corner of the warehouse.
So let's see here. I know you've got work to do, but one more time, I wanted to show people, if they're just coming in, their chance to be named the Swarm Rustler champion for 2024. I ordered a championship ring. And it will come with a personalized display case once we've denoted a winner. So anybody that's catching swarms with my swarm lure, if they send a photo or a video clip showing the swarm lure with their swarm, they will be entered to win. And whoever has the most at the end of the swarm season, and that's swarm season for everyone, guys, not just swarm season for us down here in the South or wherever. So it's going to be out there for a while. And I'll try to give tally updates as people submit their photos and share that on YouTube and stuff like that. And I've already ordered the ring. As soon as the champion has been announced, they will get a display case that is customized, that has their name on it. And also, champion 2024, something like that on it. And, we'll make a big deal of it. So
it's a great idea.
It's for everybody, and especially, the people that support the brand, support me, support the channel. You guys are great. And, and let's get rustling. So, You could
We
send
should
it.
do. We should do. Phil said, "I love the wood shop lives," and we should do this again. We'll do another one, maybe a couple of weeks. I'll start putting some pallets together,
Yep.
and we can show about how the pallets go together and some of the. I hope you guys don't mind when I go on and on about my logic as to how I've decided that I want to do this, how the design of the thing, and the logic as far as how I assemble it, how I leave things long and trim them later and that kind of stuff. I hope you don't mind that part because it's just kind of backstory,
So Danae asked what size the ring is. It's a decorative ring, guys. It comes in one size. It is a size well too big for everybody, except for Randy, evidently.
This size right here.
It's a size 12, but it will have a nice case that it has a clear plexi top on it and a base, and it'll have your name and everything on it. And depending which one I get, it actually will rotate so you could put it on your desk and show it off to your friends and show them you are the champion.
That's sweet.
So it was just something that hit me today. And I was like, you know what? Let's do it. And
see, that's what Bob does for you guys. He comes up with fun things like this. That's awesome.
I try
awesome.
to.
You don't get that every day, right?
No, I mean, when's the last time the bigger swarm lure company has done something like that? Never. Of course, they may now. Right? Now you'll probably see something, right? I even contemplated the big WWE Championship wrestling belt, but I thought that was kind of over the top. Maybe that's something I do for the
maybe the 5-year anniversary of the contest.
Yeah, decade wrestler of the decade, right?
Wrestler of the decade.
or maybe that could be something for a Swarm Wrestler B supplier of the year.
Perhaps.
A championship belt, right?
That's a good idea.
So they could display it on their counter there and just go crazy with it. It's just a conversation piece.
Sure.
Something
makes life fun.
I may have do I do. So there are several different displays. I haven't decided which one yet, but I can show you kind of what you're going to be looking at. Obviously I didn't want this all about this, but they've got these that kind of rotate right here, and or something like this. But it is a big ring, guys. It's not. I mean, it's a size 12 ring, so it's just something that's cool to sit on your desk and show off to your friends. Put it in your honey house or whatever. Put it on your live. Do whatever you want to. If you win, it's yours. You can flush it in the toilet if you want to. Doesn't matter. So I just know it's going to cost about $150. So if you flush it, you're flushing 150 down. That's all.
Boy.
But anyway, I thought it was a cool thing, something different that you don't see companies doing. And, people kind of pride. I caught 12 swarms. I caught 6 swarms. I caught 22 swarms. Well, what's in it for me? Guys, I'll just be transparent. I'm getting photos of you guys catching swarms with my product to help bring awareness to my product.
Of course.
So, there's always, everybody wants to know whim, right? What's in it for me? And that's what's in it for me.
And you know what? It's a fun way to help because, Bob does so much for us and it's just a fun way to help. And it doesn't cost you anything. The photographs don't cost anything these days. So take a photo, take a little video with the product and the swarm and send that in, and you can have a little fun competition.
If you tag Walker B Ranch in your little YouTube, everybody's got a YouTube, guys. You can take your phone and do a little short on your YouTube and and show the Swarm Rustler with your swarm catch, send it to me. Guess what? I'm going to add it to the playlist on my channel of all the Swarm Rustler swarm catches, and it'll be on there as well. So, you know, it'll be fun. And if you're in Canada, buy it from Dancing Bee, because Dancing Bee's right there. Support your local bee store. If you're in Texas, you can buy it from the Bee Supply. You can buy it from me. You can buy it from Foxhounds. You know, obviously, if you buy it from me, I make a little bit more because it's retail than wholesale. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. As long as you're showing that bottle with your swarm catch, and that company gets some fodder, you know, for their sites, and just help promote the brand. Because you notice there's a lot of other Facebook groups out there that they only talk about one lure. And unfortunately, it's not mine, unless you guys happen to mention it in there, you know? And it's like, guys, have you ever tried this? You know? So that's what we're about. Plus, you know, I can honestly say there's world-class scientists that help formulate my product, and that's not a lie, and it's not drawing outside of the lines at all. I mean, where I got the synthetic Nasonoff formula came from world-class scientists. So
yeah, that's important too. You know, not just a folklore recipe kind of thing. It's formulated by science.
I didn't work at any perfume companies. It's not perfume strength because it's not a perfume. It's a synthetic Nasonoff as derived from world-class scientists. So there's that. But anyway, guys, I appreciate all of you, as I know Brad does. And thanks for the super chats. They really help us. You know, I hate to say it this way, but it helps us kind of stay motivated to keep putting out content. Because the amount of work that goes into even live streams is hours and hours and hours. Right. And sometimes you wonder, is there something you're doing wrong because you put out content all the time?
I think sometimes people who, you know, have not monetized their channel yet or whatever, even if they're not trying, I think sometimes people think that, oh, you've got a monetized channel. Wow, that's really great. You're making a big money. Well, guess what? You don't make much at all.
No, and most of the time you're lucky if you even get a payout at the end.
You can get monetized and still make next to nothing. Mm-hmm. But it's not, you know what? And we don't do it for the money because there's no money in it. So, you know, throwing a little bit of appreciation that way. That's just, I mean, it's so meaningful to me. I mean, I appreciate every one of you who watches, and I know not everybody's in a position to send money along, but I appreciate you all the same, and I certainly do, you know, appreciate the help because it does.
Oh yeah.
That's what I use too. If I've got to buy a microphone, or if I got to buy a camera or tripod or something, that's what I use. And I'm always behind. I'm always behind on trying to pay for the things that I bought for my channel, to pay for those each month when I get, I get a check each month. I don't get a check each month as a rule, but when I do get money,
it's the same thing. So like, I appreciate everyone that supports the brands, you know, the Appy tablets, the Swarm Lure, everything that's ordered from the websites, you know, I appreciate it, and every little bit helps. So I'm not, you know, it's definitely not about the money, but you know, I'm trying. I'll be honest with you. I'm 53 years old. I've got about this much in retirement, right? So whatever's generated from the Swarm Lure company in the future and stuff like that, that's going to my kids. You know, it's my son's starting to take interest and put out feelers to, you know, Lappy's even got back to him that they're interested. So I got to send them some information. So it's starting to go, it's starting to work, but to be honest with you, you would think that I'm just like rolling in it, but a lot of that money gets rolled right back into, you know, championship rings and different stuff like that to try to expand the brand. And so it's definitely not all profit. Matter of fact, it's very little profit, if any, right? So, but we definitely appreciate you guys and everything you do.
That just drives home the point. Like, none of us do this for the money.
Yeah.
Right? No, we don't do this. I mean, the online thing, we don't do this for the money, because if we did, we'd be taken to the
it's
crazy,
the worst
crazy house if we thought we were making money. What's that, Bob?
It's the worst business decision ever.
Oh yeah, it's not a good business model.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just a lot of fun, and it's a good way to meet good people too. We've got such a great crowd, boys. Some good people in these channels that watch our stuff and get in our chats and stuff. There's some really good people. So,
you get 8,500 views on a short that makes 11 cents, guys.
Yeah.
It's like, holy crap, I can't even buy a gumball.
Exactly.
In 10 years, YouTube will pay me out if that keeps up.
Yeah. It's pretty comical sometimes when you look at the revenue. It's like, oh, well, there's 3 cents I didn't have a week ago.
David got a free bottle at Hive Life. I did that. Like, there was a line of people. If someone said, hey, Bob, hey, have a lure, right? Subscribe to my channel. Here's the lure, right? That is just giving them out, to get the word out there. And Bidenomics is worse than Beaconomics. It's definitely a building process with anything, right? And whenever you start any company, I think they tell you straight away, don't plan to make any money your first 5 years. And hey, I've lived up to all that.
I decided to stretch that out into 9. So, I wanted to pace myself. And that's the thing, it's such I often hearken back to my younger days. I would keep a little herd of pigs for a summer and into the winter before I sold them at the market. And I would work for most of a year, all the time. I'd feed them every day. I'd clean them out regularly. All the time I was working with those pigs, and I got paid once.
Right.
So you work the whole time, and then you get one payday. And that's, that's what I'm doing here, right? And God bless him, my customer. He offers to, give me a little operating capital. And I say, no, I appreciate that, but I would like to get my payday once, if that's what I can manage. And I started incurring expenses on this order last September.
Pigs or hogs?
Yeah,
hogs.
Hogs.
Hogs squared.
There's lots of hogs on that farm, even when I didn't keep pigs. But so I mean, to me, because I'm going to need the money then just as much as I need it now. It's going to be handy to get, and it's nice to get one big payday instead of a bunch of little ones. The little ones are good.
Well, the other thing with like swarm lure and stuff like that is seasonal, right? Yeah. So the way it kind of works for me right now is any swarm lure orders during the first part of the year, then hopefully the honey rustler during honey flow season, right? And then guess what? Honey. And that's it, right? Until next year. So it's definitely a cycle. So if I can improve on some of those, then maybe I don't have to go in and do the day job. But right now, the day job still supports everything else, right? Even as little as that is, and as big a headache as that is. Yeah. I mean, I've got a call last night. They want me to go down to Texas and do bee convention down there. And I'm like, well, I would love to go. All expenses paid, right? I would love to do that. However, I got a day job and now I'm out of time, vacation time. So it's like,
he blew his vacation on me.
Yeah. So the swarm lure, as long as you don't freeze it, Shane, you can 2 years. The only thing I recommend is if it's been sitting, and I do this habitually with my swarm lures. When I go out, I'm always shaking it just to mix anything up that's still in there. It's not like, I'll tell you what, I've got this jar of lure.
I used to date a girl that every time she went out, she was shaking it too.
I've got this lure, and it has separated just a
That's
bit.
funny stuff, Bob.
I'll give you your props on that one. And it has separated just a little bit, but I just give it a bit of a shake and boom, right back. No problems. So definitely, I should just go pop holes in the top of this and set it out in my yard and see what happens other than evaporation, right? But it's definitely doable. Just shake it. Don't freeze it, and it'll last. I'm saying 2 years. I don't have over 2 years of reference, but 2 years seems to be the industry standard. So that's what we're gonna roll with. But at any rate, guys, I think I'm gonna end the live stream now. And Brad's got work to do. I've got nothing to do since I'm homesick and only got 3 days left of antibiotics to take, and I don't know, another several days of probably 3 more days of antibiotics or steroids to take. And Brian, you just got here, so you have to go back and look, man. We got the championship on the line this season. It'll be maybe, I don't know. We'll come up with something cool, and maybe I'll have some runners-up prizes. I have to see what that is. Put my mind to it. But at any rate, guys, we appreciate you guys. Thanks for all the super chats and everything you've donated today, and I guess we'll see you on the next live stream.
Thanks for joining the Wood Shop.
Have a good day.
Bye, everybody.